I mean, much as we love giving it away to you, and thank you very much for buying it, but Calvin Robinson's here. Father Calvin, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Welcome back from your holiday.
I'm going to steal this mug, actually. This
yeah,
is
you,
mug.
But you're certainly welcome to it. We've got
I've
loads
got a
of
Plank
mugs.
of the Week mug as well at home.
There used to be Plank of the Week mugs, but
Yeah,
they always disappear. Have you got one? Because I was going to say, people kept nicking them. Well, they've nicked the Plank of the Week sign. You know,
Really?
the Plank of the Week sign, which is actually my sign, which was made for me, sent to me, has my name on it. They still use it over at Talk.
I believe it.
Which is absolutely shocking. Absolutely
beggars.
shocking. Where are you able to say where you were? Because it looked very exotic.
I was in Skiathos, a little Greek island that we go to every year.
Nice.
It's wonderful. It's not very touristy. It's not very resorty. It's just a beach and locals, and they look after you. They give you chicken souvlaki and your mythos beer.
The food's great, isn't it? And also,
simple.
I don't know how do they do it, right? Whenever you leave Britain, everything's cheaper, right?
Well, I don't know about that anymore. I don't know about
It
that.
normally is. I mean, I was in Cyprus. I don't know if I mentioned it to you. I did go to Cyprus. Yeah. Very few people know about it. And everything's just cheaper. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm used to London prices or something, and maybe where you are in the States, it's not so bad.
I can't stand London anymore. It's ridiculous. Every single time. So I drove down here last time I was here.
You did?
I ended up with a ticket. Don't know what for. Every time I drive through London, I get either fined or charged.
You will. Yeah.
It's like red light cameras, speed cameras, traffic cameras, parking cameras.
Yeah.
Like Big Brother is watching you.
Britain
every move.
is now the most photographed area. I mean, I went up, I said this the other day, I went up to Manchester to pick up my son, and literally every half a mile on the M6, there's one of these new cameras, which is about 1 million feet in the air, and it's got this kind of bulb, which looks a bit like the CCTV cameras that you see, and nobody can tell me what it does. You know, yes, it's a speed camera because the sat-nav picks it up, but it also, I think, is looking inside the car. It might be facial recognition. Just don't know.
So they're everywhere in America.
But nobody's telling you what they're for and who's paying for them. What's the point of them? You know, Big Brother is alive and well, I'm afraid.
AI is scanning your face everywhere you go.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is they can never track criminals.
Yeah.
So if you get burgled or robbed, no one can help you.
Yeah.
But if you commit a state offence that's going to charge you in some way, they'll have you like that.
And this is the thing. I mean, I was talking to somebody about this terrible story up north where these kids who are being sort of egged on, if you like, or effectively egged on by TikTok, putting videos up of them being chased by the police and all this kind of thing, right? Tragedy happens, 5 of them are killed, 2 police officers as well. And I said to myself, you know, if I was driving at, 65 miles an hour in a 60, they could track me. You know, why do they need to chase these people? And I know that people will say, oh, well, because they could do some damage and run into somebody. You know, but the point is that it's now... The law in this country seems to be to punish people who are basically law-abiding and to let the criminals just do whatever they like.
It's political will. There's no will for them to chase down actual criminals.
No.
But the revenue stream they can get from me and you is far higher, so they'll do that every single time.
And it's just a lot easier because we're not going to beat them up or shoot at them or anything like that.
But they forget they're there to serve us. Policing by consent means they're part of the community. They're supposed to help us.
Yeah. Well, our last guest, Alistair Hilton, you might have seen his stuff on Twitter where he was approached in a pub by 2 police officers.
We had him on in the car. We were listening to you in the car.
Yeah. Where 2 police officers basically warned him off. And he hadn't admitted that he hadn't done anything wrong. Yeah. But they're sort of saying, just don't commit any crime. Well, yeah, we know that.
How many times these days do we see that? Where the police woman, it's always a police woman these days, little chubby little thing, chases down the victim rather than the perp. Yeah. Because they can't attack they can't arrest the perps. They don't have the authority anymore. Yeah. They're not trained anymore on how to handle violent criminals.
Well, did you see that story, which I haven't actually mentioned this week, but the incredible story about Henry Novak, that the police who were investigating his murder, effectively, were so convinced that he was a racist but couldn't find any evidence that they actually trawled back through all of his social media, trawled back through his school records to see if there was anything that they could blame him for in any way that was racist. Absolutely disgraceful behaviour.
And they coached the guy that killed him to say that it was a racist incident. They are so convinced that racism is the new blasphemy. Yeah. There's a new state religion, which is woke, DEI, and being racist is the new blasphemy. So they're looking for that over everything. Yeah. The fact that we know that over 250,000 young white English girls have been systematically groomed and raped, and no one cares about it because no one wants to be either seen as racist or spark a race riot because they believe the rest of us are racist. Yeah. The fact that they're putting racism above the lives of those young girls shows how much it's become the state religion.
Right. And somebody yesterday was complaining that one of the kids who died in the car had been accused of racially abusing a police officer. like that's worse than killing one.
It is.
Right?
It is.
It's almost as though that's the worst crime.
And actually, I think people need to be more racist in the sense of pattern recognition.
Yeah.
We need to recognize what's harmful to us, what's harmful to our society. We don't need to be discriminatory. We don't need to hate people.
No.
But we do need to recognize what's good and what's not good.
Yeah.
And we've got people coming into our land and we have to give them pamphlets to say, please don't rape. We don't do rape in this country.
Yeah.
Maybe let's just not invite those people into our country in the first
maybe
place.
sort of stop them or make it, because we look helpless, which I think is possibly the worst crime that any government can sort of perpetuate on its citizens. They can't protect us. The job of the government is twofold, it seems to me, to have the defence of the realm first and foremost, instead of which we've got a Prime Minister who wants to go and play a Smith song on a bloody guitar with some people from a war zone, right? Which is so embarrassing, I can't even begin to tell you what I think about it. So we can't, I'd kind of Bob Stewart on yesterday, and I said, as far as I'm aware, if there was to be a Russian attack on us, and now that we've painted a big target on ourselves, thanks very much indeed by going and helping out old Zelensky, and now taking intelligence information from him about the Russians. I said, I'm led to believe that if there was some kind of attack from the Russians, we don't have enough defences to defend ourselves for a week.
We don't learn our lessons.
He said, I don't think it's even that long.
No.
We've literally got nothing.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
We used to have the biggest navy in the world.
Yeah.
Our navy used to rule the seas quite literally. There's songs about it.
Yeah.
And we are on an island. We should be the most protected nation in Europe.
It should be easy to protect
The English Channel is quite simple. Just have a boat ship on there. Have a gunboat on there.
Yeah.
If anyone tries to illegal cross our channel, we should take their boat out.
Yeah.
That might mean in the first few instances there is some injuries and or loss of life. But after the first few instances, it will stop.
Yeah, of course.
And that's for the greater good of the people crossing as well as the people who live here.
Well, you talk about Greece. I mean, the Greek Navy manages to fire on people. You don't necessarily even have to hit them. You don't have to hit the boat. You can just fire around them.
Absolutely.
And that'll do the trick, I would imagine. Because at the moment, you can see footage of people just clambering onto these dinghies.
Yeah. And the dinghies get bigger and bigger. It's like
the dinghies are getting bigger and bigger.
It's a joke.
And then they get rescued.
Yeah.
There's a boat somewhere in the middle of the channel just waiting to pick them up.
And we pay France to not stop them.
600 million.
And they send them over. We go and pick them up. We bring them in. We give them benefits, give them a hotel, and give them a mobile phone. We let them take over villages where we put more migrants into those villages than people that live there.
Yes.
It's insane. And they come and they replace our values and they kill our wildlife.
We were talking this morning to some guys down in Crowborough who were telling us, the Crowborough sort of shield guys who were saying that basically there's drug dealing going on, there's drug taking going on. It's all happening on the outskirts.
Like this carving on the screen.
And more signs like that on the screen.
Oh my gosh. Please do not poo in the streets.
Yeah.
Like, why do we need a sign to say that?
I know.
Because people have different values. And that's not judgment. People do have different values. Different cultures are different.
Yeah.
We used to think that ours was a superior culture.
Yeah.
Because ours was, it's a Christian culture.
Well, it is,
And I think it is.
Yeah.
But we're losing it because we're saying we no longer have a culture.
Right.
So this is my present to you, Mike. This is why I've written this book.
Wow.
The Silent Jihad.
Oh, it's heavy. I've got one as well. I'd better give you this one.
Okay.
It's the only one I've got here at the moment, but I'm
Thanks.
getting some more, so you can have
Wonderful.
that one. And if you sign this one for me, I'll sign that one for you.
Yeah, let's do that in a minute. But
Wow.
the
Silent Jihad, here we are.
The point of the Silent Jihad is to identify the problem first and foremost and say, look, there is a cultural difference between Islam and Christianity. And we are a Christian country, our values are Christian, our laws are Christian, from the judiciary to legislative. And if we ignore that, we'll be replaced by something else. And we're being actively replaced by Islam.
Yeah.
And so we have a choice. There's no liberal secular society, there's no middle ground, there's no grey area where everything's equal. It's either Christianity or Islam.
Right.
What do we want to be as a country?
And do you see any sign that is changing in the sense that people are beginning to wake up to the fact that it's happening? Yeah. And you can't really deny it now. Yeah. I mean, there was a time, perhaps maybe a few years ago when you and I first started talking, where you could see that people were squeamish and they were kind of like, well, they can have a mosque there, it's okay. Several years later, there are entire parts of Britain which are unrecognisable as British.
The conversation has shifted. When I first started talking about this, they called me an Islamophobe.
Yeah.
Now, like 5-10 years later, they're like, wait a minute, all these churches being sold have become mosques.
Yeah.
People are praying with their bums in the air in the middle of the road as a sign of dominance.
Yeah.
All our school meals are being replaced from the English breakfast to something that's halal.
Yeah.
Supermarket meat is all halal. Like our values aren't being listened to anymore. And again, it always comes back down to these young girls are being systematically groomed and groomed.
Yeah.
And that needs to stop. And we're seeing it's a direct contradiction of what we knew to be good. What other cultures and other religions seem to be good.
Yeah.
And they can't both be good. We have to pick one. Morality is objective. It's not universal.
And the thing about the Islamic situation as well is that it's not entirely universal. You know, you can go to some Islamic countries in the Middle East, for example, which are not anything like Pakistan.
Right.
You know, you go to the UAE or you go to Saudi, you know, yes, they've got poverty and yes, they've got a kind of underclass of people and the people who work, but by and large, they're not what you might call kind of, you know, absolute kind of zealots about a particular form of the religion.
Right.
Whereas in Pakistan, and particular parts of Pakistan, they absolutely are.
Pakistan and Afghanistan are like the hotbed of terrorism. They are the ones that breed the extremism.
Yeah.
We breed it here now.
Yeah.
There are lots of people in England who've been banned from Saudi Arabia, banned from Qatar, because they're so extreme.
Yeah.
And they live here.
Right.
And we have more Sharia courts in Britain than the rest of Europe combined.
Yeah.
We're actively becoming more and more Islamic by the day because we're afraid to push back.
Yeah.
And I think, look, the most loving thing we can say to people is, if you are going to come to Britain, and obviously we have to have a conversation if we want people to come here in the first place, but if people are going to come here, they have to subscribe to our way of life, our values, our culture, our language, and our faith.
Yeah.
And if they don't do that, I would say, well, maybe you're not welcome. And that's the loving thing to do.
And I think that's entirely fair, you know, because previously, again, if you'd said that a few years ago, you'd be seen as some kind of, you know, mad racist, you know, who doesn't like multicultural Britain to be a forward-thinking nation that can embrace everything. Well, we've seen what's happened when you embrace everything. Yeah. Everything falls to crap, doesn't it?
I lived in Royal Arsenal when a guy got beheaded on the streets. And the perpetrator stands there with bloody hands and says, "I do this for my faith." It's like, well, why are you in our country if you hate us that much?
Right, exactly.
And we see this time and time again, but we don't learn our lessons. We've got to push it out. It's got to go.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we still don't really know an awful lot of what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, I take you back to you know, Aston Villa last year, where the entire kind of police department of the West Midlands appeared to have been captured by the local Muslim community, who said, we don't want any Israeli fans coming here, so why don't you just tell them they can't come because it's dangerous for them.
Dangerous for them.
They didn't say, hang on, why is it dangerous for them? Because you're going to kill them because they're Israelis. I mean, it's you know, incredible that happened, one. Then the West Midlands police tried to cover it up and tried to make out that, you know, we had really good reasons because of the violence that this fan base had perpetuated in Holland, which turned out to be rubbish. They made it up, right? So we've now got a police force who are actively being groomed themselves by a Muslim community and a bunch of Muslim community leaders, willing to tell lies to the public in order to justify it.
I've had this. I've had places where I can't go because my life will be in danger. And the police will say, you can't go there because what will happen to you if you go there? I'm like, well, why do you speak to the people who will potentially do what you're scared of?
Well, I was talking to Bishop Dewar on Friday, who's told us that he's now been told that, you know, he had a problem with his car. So we crowdfunded an amount of money for him to get a new car. Brilliant. He now can't drive the car because his number plate has apparently been passed to people who wish to do him harm, and he's been warned by the police not to go anywhere in that car.
So what's he supposed to do?
And he's going, well, he was supposed to go to a conference, I think, up in the north.
Yes, it was at Emmanuel Church. With
the problem with his car was it was vandalised.
And his car was vandalised in the first place, that's right,
It wasn't just a car problem.
Yes, no, sorry, I forgot that bit. So we got him a new car, and now he can't drive it. And apparently that even the Church of England were trying to ban him from appearing at this particular conference on the grounds that he's the wrong kind of Christian.
Yeah. Huh? He's called them out, and he's called the king out for not standing up for the faith. So they feel embarrassed. They're ashamed.
And so they should be.
Yeah.
They should be embarrassed. And so should King Charles, frankly.
Absolutely.
You know.
To say that
who I think on the day after Anne Widdecombe's murder, he had written at the top of his Twitter feed how sorry he was for the loss of the King of Qatar, who happened to have died the day before. But nothing about Anne Widdecombe.
No. On Easter, he was
flirting
with Islam.
And how is that? I don't know, how did we get here?
I don't know how we got here, but I've tried to address where we go from here in the book, because the point is we've got a decision to make, and if we don't reverse course, where we're heading is a very dangerous place. If you and I can't say these things publicly without death threats, then we're no longer a free country.
I mean, I'm fortunate in as much as far as I know, I haven't had any. But I'm sure that way. You know, there's only a matter of time. But I mean, I find it astonishing that we live in a world where, as you say, not only are those threats made, but then the people who are supposed to protect you tell you just not to go where you might be in danger.
And it's a simple fix. Like we said, control the borders, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Get rid of the DEI policies. Let the police get on the street tackling crime and criminals rather than people who may be perceived to be racist or Islamophobic or anti-whatever. Like, just get back to good old-fashioned policing and let the government get rid of any policy that puts one group above another group.
Yeah.
Like, get rid of the Equality
Because
Act.
it's not just, in fact, the incomers, if you want to call them that. You know, all you've got to do is look up to Darlington, where that terrible crash happened at the weekend, and you've got kids up there sort of more or less celebrating like they're heroes. These joyriders, you know, because they go on TikTok and they get chased by the police, and you know, it's a shame that they're all dead. They're flying flares for them. They're having a sort of vigil for them, because these are people who live pretty much outside the law. You know, there's a kind of underclass of people in this country. These people themselves, 4 of the 5 boys who died, I say boys, a couple of them are in their 20s, 37 different convictions against them between the 4 of them. And yet they're out driving around in a car at high speed, killing people.
Well, we've got 2-tiered law in this country, haven't we?
Yeah.
When people can get arrested for free speech issues and actually go to jail, like Lucy Connolly, and people can get let out early on criminal rape charges, or not be charged at all because their culture didn't know that they weren't supposed to be rapey. Like, that's clearly a 2-tiered system. And then we've also got more Sharia courts, as I mentioned, in this country than anywhere else in Europe. And so the Mohammedans, they pretty much have their own law system.
Right.
They can go, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you, and then it's done. They're divorced.
Yeah.
Like, we can't do that. We have other things we have to do. And so we have to have equality under the law. We have to be equal in terms of dignity and worth in the eyes of God. And we have to be equal in the eyes of the state as who we are as individuals, as free men in a free country. Otherwise, it's not free.
And no, indeed. Well, you now live in America, where you know when you talk to Americans, they understand free speech in a way that we never have. Even before all of this craziness, I always knew, having lived in the States back in the 80s and 90s, that, you know, that's a proper free speech nation. You can say what you want. It doesn't matter whether it's objectionable or racist or horrible or nasty. You can say it.
You kind of have to be there to recognize it, though, don't you? I speak to lots of people in Britain who say, no, we're free, we have free speech. But we are fish in water. You can't see the oppression around you until you get out of it and look from the outside. Things are bad here. Things are really bad here.
They really are. I mean, I say it whenever you go anywhere, actually, in Europe. Not because of necessarily that they're more free than we are, because they might not be. But it just, there's a sense in Britain at the moment that the country is in dire trouble. It's in desperate straits.
We've forgotten our identity, who we are as a people. For over 1900 years, we were a Christian country. And we have the evidence going all the way back to Christ, for goodness sake, that we've been founded on his values. And now we're like, wait a minute, we don't need them, because we can be good without them. We could just be like secular idealists and everything's progressive, and whatever you're doing in the 4 corners of your own home, as long as you're not hurting anyone, it's all good. Like, we used to know there was an objective good and objective evil, and now it's whatever you take for granted yourself, which has let the Islamic people come in and say, actually, we have a standard. And so young men are like, well, we want tradition, we want standards, we want something to live up to. And so they're joining Islam because Christianity is so weak, effeminate, and gay, and they're looking for strength, and they see it in Islam. Whereas it should be the church standing up and say, actually, no, this is, we are strong people, this is a Christian faith.
The church is a pretty good indication, really, of where it's all gone wrong, though, isn't it?
It is, 100%.
You know.
Like, we don't even think...
One of the 2 contenders for the Archbishop of Canterbury's job was a woman who had come here illegally from Iran.
Oh, yes.
And has now become a bishop of some kind.
The very first thing you do in this country is break the law.
Yeah.
And somehow you put it on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Like, gone,
Shocking.
you're gone. Anyone that comes to this country that breaks the law should automatically be gone.
Of course.
If you come to our country and break our way of life, you're deported.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's not even open for debate, is it? Why should it be?
But this is what we need to get back to: common sense.
Yeah.
Everyone who's governing our country should be from our country, and they should have they should use our language, they should have our faith, they should share our values.
Yeah.
It's all very simple.
Yeah.
This is what we need to get back to, Mike.
Sounds easy.
In the Independent Republic of Mike Graham.
In the Independent Republic of Mike Graham, yes. It all happens.
We're in talks with Calvin.
We are in talks with Calvin for a show on the burgeoning new network that we've got coming up called UK Live Online. And hopefully we can find some kind of arrangement which will suit both of us. And we're looking forward to that, along with some other people that we're talking to as well. How about this from Kiki? We're in a spiritual war. Look at Baphomet, the goat-headed being. The original spelling is Muhammad, French for Muhammad. Okay. I wasn't expecting that to finish the show with, but there we are.
One more from Barry Davies here.
Where can I buy Father Calvin's book?
That's a good question. Thank you.
I'm looking on Amazon.
We can't put books like this on Amazon, unfortunately, not yet. We're not that free. So the the Silent Jihad is available on shop.newchristianright.com.
Okay. Well, let's see what. If you tweet that out, we'll do the same. So people can find where to get their hands on it. But brilliant to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks for having me.
Take a copy of Fake News, which is all about the unfortunate, shall we say, unfortunate kind of alliance.
We've gone black and it's not me.
There we go.
unfortunate alliance between the media and the establishment.